this word here is part of a select group of words where if I use them over here in London, I get many disapproving looks, and often it can derail an entire conversation as everyone laughs at my American accent of this item. Some of the differences can be quite subtle, so you might not even realize you pronounce these words differently until you're told off for it. And in some cases, like this word for instance, well, Brits are the ones who've changed this pronunciation, and quite recently too. My name is Edinger, and these are the 9 American pronunciations that Brits really hate. So this is a word with many different regional pronunciations within the USA itself. In the UK, however, the most dominant pronunciation is crayon. Crayon. Can I get some crayons, please? And in America, there are many people who also pronounce it crayon. From my area of New Jersey, though, I've heard 3 distinct pronunciations in school. The one I stuck with annoys Brits the most, annoyingly: crayons. I've got 1 crayon, 2 crayons. I love coloring with crayons. The word itself comes from the French crayon, meaning chalk pencil, dating back to the 1640s. And in this case, the Brits do stick to a pronunciation much closer to its French origins. But in America, it can be basically like crayon, but with an apostrophe. Crayon, which is another popular pronunciation from my area, though more accepted over here than crayons, which is just crayon, but even faster. People from New Jersey and New York usually have a lot faster of an accent than the rest of the country, so shortening words like crayons to crayons to crayons just makes sense. That said, when I heard kids in school call them crowns, I was like, whoa. That is where I draw the line, actually. That is a popular pronunciation of crayon in the Midwest. Crown. Check out this map. This map shows how split the country can be when it comes to pronouncing childhood crayons. So you've got crayon, crayon, crown, and crayon. Lovely. So no matter how you choose to pronounce this item, your pronunciation is sure to annoy someone around the world. If I have to be honest with myself, crayon is clearly superior. But crayons is so much faster. But realistically, you're probably not mentioning crayons very often in your day-to-day life. Well, unless you're a teacher. But this word, on the other hand, well, this one actually snuck up on me because, yes, I obviously am aware this is pronounced differently over here. The British pronunciation caramel is one that I use every once in a while to try and blend in so that nobody kicks up a fuss. But what I only just realized in the past few months is that this pronunciation, caramel, actually carries through to the verb form as well, caramelize, which just really hurts to say. But as much as I don't like the British pronunciation, Brits hate the American pronunciation so much more. Rightfully so, I suppose, because we sort of just ignore the A in the middle of the word. For me, I grew up eating caramel corn popcorn from the boardwalk, and I actually never once heard it pronounced any other way until I moved to Britain. But when I'm trying to slow cook some onions, I'm caramelizing the onions. They're caramelized onions, not caramelized. And I know this might blow some of your minds, but even though I pronounce it caramelized, I still spell the word the British way, with an S instead of a Z. Or Z. It all gets very confusing. Etymologically, caramel is French, meaning burnt sugar, and the French supposedly got the word from the Spanish caramello. It's like a candy bar. Regardless, Brits obviously pronounce it closer to the original word, so good job, guys. Not all Americans ignore that middle A like myself. I mean, look at this map. This is a map of the caramel-caramel split. Caramel is pretty dominant on the entire east coast of the USA, except for this small pocket of South Jersey where I'm from. And then the caramel pronunciation travels through Pennsylvania to infect the states west of there, all the way until you reach Carmel by the sea. It is a bit funny how hypocritical we can all be about pronunciations that we find acceptable versus the ones that get under our skin. Like, I'm totally fine describing this stroopwafel as 2 waffles with caramel in between. But if I hear an American say that it's a stroop waffle, I'm like, whoa. Now that's not acceptable, okay? Stroop, not stroop, please no. Enough waffling about that word. Maybe I should just look in the mirror. Well, this one, I cannot pronounce the British way without it sounding so unbelievably foreign in my voice. You see, in my American accent, we smush everything down into one syllable, mirror. You could argue that the middle R's disappear entirely. The British pronunciation, as is standard for them, ignores the final R. Well, kind of. I have tried to pronounce this correctly in a British accent, but you don't ignore the final R. It's not mirror, it's mirror. Did you hear the difference? I'm still really bad at this word, I will be honest. This is one of the most difficult words to say in a British accent for me. So we have mirror, and then, hello, I'd like to look in the mirror. Is that a nice mirror? That was bad. See, that was awful. Father, can I look in the mirror? Can I look in the mirror? Please, sir, may I have some mirror? A lot of times when I'm listening for that final R in British words, like minor, mirror, it's, to me, as someone who's even lived here for so long, I hear it as a UH, mirror, but it's not. It's with a really tiny R and just the tip of the tongue. Mirror. Oh! I think I did it. In the mirror. Mirror. In the mirror. I'd like to look in the mirror. Mirror. Do you have a mirror? This is a word that has many regional accents in the UK as well, so not everyone is going to be all like, hello, I'd like to look in the mirror. It might just be, oh mate, look in the mirror. Where's all my money gone? I've been looking in the mirror and I don't like who I see anymore. This is the hardest word, okay? Full disclosure, I've tried my best. Mirror is just what sounds right to me, and mirror is something I probably will never say in a British accent no matter how hard I try to blend in, because it's just too difficult for me. In terms of the etymology of the word, mirror came into Middle English in the 13th century from the Old French mireux, which I totally pronounced correctly. My French is incredible. Thank you for all the comments. My German, pretty great. Spanish, oh yeah. French, well, I'm not making any friends in Paris, am I? The French word, in turn, came from the Latin mirare, which means to wonder at or to reflect. Pretty apt. And the British pronunciation is, again, closer to the original French, at least. So, America, hey, at least we speed it up, right? I have added this word to the list because I do find it the most subtle of the words that Brits and Americans pronounce differently. Even if I were speaking with the most prim and proper British accent, putting the accent on the wrong syllable sticks out like a sore thumb. You see? In America, once you're no longer a child, you're an adult. Easy. In the UK though, you're an adult. He went to the cinema to see a film and got an adult ticket. Come on, you're an adult. But in the US, it'd be more, he went to the movie theater to see a movie and he got an adult ticket. Come on, you're an adult. But switching it up here gets even more weird. He went to the cinema to see a film and got an adult ticket. See, the rest of that sentence Brits might have gotten along with, but the accent on the wrong syllable just throws adult off, and somehow it sounds like an insult. What, is that a ticket for dolts? Don't be adult. Adult comes from the Latin adultus, which is the past participle of another word you might recognize, adolescere, to grow into maturity. All comes back to Latin, doesn't it? Word on the street is that there are some Brits now that have switched to pronouncing it the American way in certain regions of the UK, but I would guess that's probably yet again from American influence from social media and films and such. All right, this one's gonna rile people up. This name for an animal seems to be difficult to pronounce in a lot of languages. In German, it's Eichhörnchen. In French, it's... Why is there so much French for me to pronounce? At least I can say the German one. In French, it's écureuil. It's écureuil.
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 Écureuil. I can't do the final bit.
Écureuil.
Right. Écureuil. 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 In Britain, similar to caramel, the word is broken up a bit more sensibly. Squirrel. But in American English, we don't have time for two syllables, right? So it's just squirrel. It feels more like another apostrophe. It went from squirrel, 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 squirrel. Listen, you're just left with the heart of the word. Squirrel. All right, squirrel. I don't think that's hard to say at all. I'd say the British pronunciation for like English as a second language people, it's gotta be more difficult, right? If you ever learned English as a second language, please tell me, what's harder? Squirrel, one syllable, or squirrel? Squirrel. It does seem that many of the words that Brits and Americans fight over these days share one common enemy. Old French. The word squirrel comes from the Old French esquirel, totally pronounced that way, which can be traced all the way back to this Greek word meaning shade tail, which is a fun way to describe a squirrel. Lovely. If you've subscribed to my YouTube channel for a while, you'd know that I'm involved in quite a few different niches. This, of course, is the common UK pronunciation of the word, which I myself use mostly for everything now, but God, do Brits hate the American pronunciation of niche. And I will be honest, it sort of annoys me too. Maybe it's just that the word comes off so harsh. Niche, 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 niche. And the word does feel like it doesn't deserve such a harsh sound, you know? But Brits, it's time to check yourself, okay? Despite the fact that Brits find niche to be a mispronunciation now. In fact, Merriam-Webster notes that niche was the older and originally only pronunciation listed in dictionaries up until the 20th century. Britain flipped to niche at some point in the mid-1900s, but across the pond, well, they stuck with the original pronunciation. So who's wrong now? When the word was taken from French, it was most likely anglicized to sound more English with niche, but over time, Brits Frenchified it back up. Important to note though, Americans do actually say niche and niche depending on the region and age of the speaker. Weirdly enough, I sometimes consider the cute little nook that some houses have for reading a reading niche. For some reason in my mind, the harshness of the word niche makes sense for a physical place, but the conceptual idea of groups of ideas, niches, sounds much better when it's nice and soft. And now, fun UK versus US words is a niche on my YouTube channel that you can watch in your niche if you subscribe, of course. Now, I couldn't make this video without talking about this word, as it truly is the one word Brits make way too much of a fuss about. But annoyingly, due to the fact that I'm subconsciously always trying to fit in and stand out at the same time when it comes to my spoken speech, I find both herbs and herbs sound foreign in my voice. Like the other day, I went to this Vietnamese restaurant in London and asked what Vietnamese herbs they had with the dish. And I felt like that sounded so strange, so I tried to switch it up the second time and I went, sorry, which Vietnamese herbs? But that beat, that pause to let the air, it just sounded so strange. So now herb sounds weird to me and herb sounds weird to me. I've said before that herb is not a word that Brits have any right getting angry about because, well, hour, hello, how you doing? These are three British pronunciations that drop the H similar to the American herb and are heard all over the country. And to further knock some Brits off their weird high horse about this word, let's look at the etymology of the word herb. Herb comes from the Old French herbe, which itself comes from the Latin herba, for, grass and herbs and such. Similar to the word niche, Brits and Americans pronounced the word herb the same until the 19th century, when Brits collectively decided to start breathing out a bit more and sounding out that beginning H. Before then, we were both on the same page. Team herb. Who made the language? The English made the language. Pronounce it that way. Oh, we are. You just decided to change it, okay? So you might argue that words in America did change a lot over time and deviate from the English spoken in England, but there are also many cases of Americans speaking English more English than the English. For this next word, you're gonna have to excuse my French, even though, unlike nearly every other word on this list, this one doesn't come from French. Twat is a very popular insult in Britain that basically just means idiot. Like a very confusing amount of British slang, this one comes from slang for genitalia, in this case, minge. I mean clunge. I mean fanny. One of the first things I realized when I moved here was how many different ways you can say penis and vagina. Didn't know. In America, we've got a little bit, but Brits are like, meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes, of all the ones I was trying to come up with, one that I don't know if is really used. I don't think so. The issue with this one, though, is that Brits rhyme twat with hat. Americans twat with hot. And the word feels like it loses so much punch when you pronounce it twat. Saying twat in an American accent almost sounds like the American is attempting some sort of bad posh accent. I took a bath because I got grass on my twat. It's twat. Twat sounds like Twatston. Like that famous rain dance winning film, The Drowning of Arthur Braxton. Twat's like a machine gun. Twat, 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 twat. No. That twat, twat, twat. Wait, do you see what my twat? No. It doesn't sound enjoyable at all. If someone called me a twat, I'd be like, mate, what the fuck, you twat? Now, if you'd like to know the origins of the word, well, welcome to Mystery Town. The word twat has an unknown origin. We don't know where it's from, except that, well, we know it's been spoken in English slang since at least the 17th century. Word to the wise, if you are going to use a British insult, at least pronounce it the right way, or else you will sound like a twat. When I was writing this video and scripting it, Heather's just coming in right now, at one point I was saying out loud the script and I said twat, and I heard Heather in the other room go, did you just say twat? Brits really get annoyed at that one.
Twat.
I struggle really hard at one of these words, despite living in the country for 13 years. Can you please say mirror?
Mirror.
Mirror.
There's a mirror on the wall.
There's a mirror on the wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Mirror.
So I'm saying it right. Mirror.
Mirror. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Before we get to the final word, I did just want to quickly throw in these two names because Brits get way too upset over the US pronunciation of these. S'mores are made with graham crackers, not graham crackers. I do understand if a British person says their name is Graham Norton, well then, it'd be weird to pronounce his name Graham Norton. But Brits don't even have graham crackers, so they shouldn't really have a say here. Also, this is Craig Robinson, the American actor, but this is Craig Ferguson, the Scottish talk show host guy. Same name, but each pronounce their name the way that it's pronounced in their country. It's no biggie, all right? Craig with a wig. That's a very old Wheezy way to reference. But you see, with this word, I've taken a different route, depending on the context. You see, in Britain, this word is almost always pronounced the same. Root rhymes with boot. In America, it can be route or route, depending on how the word is used. Like earlier, I said, I might take a different route. Well, take a different route doesn't sound too weird, but route here just sounds better to me. Also, if I'm naming a road, most definitely I'm going to be using the term route. Like I grew up near Route 55, near Route 40, but most Brits are aware of Route 66. Route 66 just doesn't sound right. And that's not just because of the song. Using the word as a verb to me is also almost exclusively route. I need to route this Cat 7 cable through the hole in my wall. So Americans can pronounce it either route or route depending on their mood. But for me, this next question changes meaning depending on the pronunciation chosen. Which route are you taking? Versus, which route are you taking? I'd love for some Americans to chime in here, but for me, if I said, which route are you taking? I'm asking you which major road. Like, are you taking Route 55 or 295? Which route? But if I asked you, which route are you taking? I'm actually more interested in your entire journey from beginning to end. How did you get there? That said, when it comes to this little guy, oh, where is he? Here he is. Most Americans like me probably pronounce it a internet router. It routes your internet traffic. And as is standard in American English, the T in router becomes a D, router. In Britain, they are at least consistent. This is called a router. an internet router. Whenever they're ootin' about, they go on a route and they take the internet. It almost seems like a spawn. I do like this router. If you'd like it, I have a link in the description. This one's great. He's got 2.5 gigabit. He's got Wi-Fi 6. I love him. He's very nice. And so the root of all these differences, as always, is that languages grow and change over time and are heavily influenced by those around us. Just like you can be heavily influenced to support the goods and services that sponsor this very YouTube channel. Ad break.
Hello and welcome to Evan's Kitchen. What's on today's menu? Well, today's video sponsor, Huel Black, Cinnamon Swirl Edition. I've actually been a big fan of Huel for over 5 years now, ever since I started stealing it from my flatmate Luke. Sorry, Luke. What I like the most about Huel is, as someone with now diagnosed ADHD, a lot of times figuring out what I can have for lunch is a huge effort for me, and Huel Black has just been a very big game changer for me. All I do is grab my Huel bottle here, fill it up with water, then I just need to add 2 scoops of Huel Black and give it a nice big shake. There's 1, there's 2. Make sure that's secure, put the lid on here, and it's shaking time. Works up quite a sweat. I've got myself 400 calories, loads of nutrients. I've got 40 grams of protein. It's just really nice for me and my lifestyle at the moment. A lot of times I'll have 1 or 2 Huels for lunch, depending on how I'm feeling. Especially because I've been so active recently, cycling everywhere, I'm burning a lot more calories, and it's nice to just chuck a Huel back and I'm feeling like I'm good to go. And one of my favorite types of sponsors are ones in which I'm already a big fan of the product before they reach out to me. So with Huel, it's kind of like a perfect spawn for me. I always tell my friends about it, so now I get to tell you. If you'd like, you can sign up using my link in the description. Huel have a nice big 15% discount for you. So thank you very much to Huel for sponsoring this vid. Be sure to click that out or check out the QR code on screen. Other than that, thanks Huel for sponsoring. Without further ado, let's wrap up the video.
Hello, welcome to the outro. By the time you're watching this, I might just be in the USA shooting a few big videos to hit your feed soon. A lot of big stuff on public transit and some other niches that I'm into. So hopefully I'll see you again soon. I have made enough words videos now that I've got a nifty little playlist though. So if you want to watch another video like this, I've got you covered. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. You might be like, Evan, why do you keep making videos about your router? I've just been getting so into networking recently. I upgraded the networking infrastructure in my whole house to make sure I had like 10 gigabit for connecting to Bertha, my NAS. I've got like 2.5 gigabit going places, and it's fun. It's fun. It's like Connects or Lego, but has a positive like impact on my job. So it's quite nice. I don't know where you're gonna put that. Nowhere. The outro.